Mr. President.
The Majority Leader is recognized.
Now today, Mr. President, the Senate will vote to advance at least one more Biden judicial nominee. We'll move forward on our annual defense bill. We'll vote on the motion to proceed on legislation to raise the debt ceiling, all hopefully before we start the afternoon. It's a busy day for the Senate, so let me break down each of these items in some detail. On the legislative front, later this morning, the Senate will vote to invoke cloture on the annual defense bill, negotiated on a bicameral, bipartisan basis. For over 60 years, the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, has passed without fail on a mostly bipartisan basis. So I thank all of my colleagues for working in good faith to getting this defense bill done. The Senate will then turn to the critical matter of addressing the debt limit in order to avoid a first-ever default on our sovereign debt. Last week, Democrats and Republicans came together to pass legislation setting up a fast-track process for addressing the debt limit. Today, we're going to complete that process, and it will come in two steps. First, as I said, we'll vote on the motion to proceed, followed by a vote on final passage later today. Thanks to last week's agreement between Democrats and Republicans, today's motion to proceed will be set at a majority threshold. Once we're on the bill, no amendments will be in order, debate will be limited to 10 hours, and we hope to yield back debate time on our side to keep this progress moving. The resolution we will vote on will provide for raising of the debt limit to a level commensurate with funding necessary to get into 2023. As I have said repeatedly, this is about paying debt accumulated by both parties. So I'm pleased Republicans and Democrats came together to facilitate a process that has made addressing the debt ceiling possible. I want to thank the Republican leader and all my Republican colleagues who reached out across the aisle in good faith to bring us to this point. No brinksmanship, no default on the debt, no risk of another recession. Responsible governing has won on this exceedingly important issue. The American people can breathe easy and rest assured there will not be a default. So once again, I thank the Republican leader and my Republican colleagues who voted with us to address this issue. The Senate can be done with this matter before the end of the day, crossing another major item off of our December to-do list. Off the floor, Democrats continue working to put the Senate in a position to act on President Biden's Build Back Better Act, along with the timeline I've set out for our caucus. This week, bipartisan birdbath meetings with the parliamentarian will continue, and I thank my colleagues, the parliamentarian and her team, for working through this important and difficult process. The President will also continue his conversations with our caucus as we hash out the final details of the legislation. Build Back Better is moving forward, and I thank all of my colleagues and the President for their diligence and their commitment to get this done. On judges and nominations, in addition to our legislative agenda, the Senate will also work today and the rest of the week on confirming more of President Biden's nominees to serve on the federal bench. First, we will hold a vote this morning to proceed on the nomination of Samantha Elliott to serve as a district judge for the District of New Hampshire. And as soon as today, we also hope to vote on the confirmation of Jennifer Sung of Oregon, nominated to sit on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. The Senate invoked cloture on Ms. Sung at the end of last week, and I want to say a few words in support of this remarkable nominee. Throughout her career, Ms. Sung has proven herself to be an exceptional and impartial adjudicator, a valiant advocate for working Americans, and I'm confident she'll be an excellent judge who adds to the personal and professional diversity of the Ninth Circuit. A graduate of Oberlin and Yale Law School, Ms. Sung's first experience with the Ninth Circuit came while she served as a clerk for Judge Betty Fletcher, before embarking on a career in private practice focused on employment and on labor law. For over a decade, she regularly represented low-income workers, minority workers, underserved communities in disputes against their employers. As a member of the Oregon Employment Relations Board, she struck a difficult balance between protecting the rights of working Americans while applying the law without prejudice, the key ingredients, Mr. President, for any successful federal judge. If confirmed, Ms. Sung would be one of the very few Asian Americans to sit on the federal judiciary. Along with Ms. Elliott, she would be the 31st judge that the Senate Democratic majority has confirmed this year, the most under any president's first year in decades. And we are doing it with outstanding, impartial, and diverse nominees. And we're going to keep working in the months ahead. Today, Article III judges are still overwhelmingly white, overwhelmingly male, and overwhelmingly from big law firms or prosecutorial backgrounds. Many of these individuals have served admirably on the bench. But we hope the trailblazers of today can be closer to the norm of tomorrow. We want our courts to include more women, more diverse candidates, both demographically and professionally, and more judges who come from unique walks of life. That is how we can strengthen Americans' trust in an independent and impartial judiciary, so important to the vitality of our democracy. Now on the COVID moment of silence. This evening, I will join the Speaker and other congressional leaders on the Capitol steps to mark a dreaded and sorrowful milestone. 800,000 Americans, 800,000, have now lost their lives to the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll hold a moment of silence in their memory. As Americans come together for the holidays, as we take stock of the long road we've taken this year, many of us carry in our hearts an unresolvable contradiction. Gratitude for the progress we've made, but grief for the loss we've endured along the way. Thanks to vaccines, tens of thousands of deaths, maybe even hundreds of thousands, have been thankfully prevented. Across the country, Americans are returning to work and once again meeting at bars, restaurants, and concerts. Our country's far better off today than we were a year ago. But on this day, we'll remember that 800,000 loved ones did not make it this far. A lost father or grandfather, mother or grandmother, a friend, a familiar face in the neighborhood. All of us know someone whom this disease has taken away. And of course, we are not out of the woods yet. As the Omicron variant makes its way across the country, I urge my fellow New Yorkers and all my fellow Americans to get vaccinated and boosted as soon as possible if eligible. Vaccines remain the very best way to bring this disease to an end. I hope the milestone we observe today is the final one in our fight against this awful disease. With vaccines, we can rid ourselves of COVID and avoid adding to the awful sum that we've reached this week. As for those we have lost today we remember them, we hold them close to our hearts, and we commit to doing our part to bring this pandemic to an end. I yield the floor. Note the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.